We're going with Clark Ashton Smith, Odes and Sonnets. Um, little background about Smith. Clark Ashton Smith, uh, January 1893 through August 1961. Self-educated American poet, sculptor, painter, and author. Nero. This Rome was the toil of many men, the consummation of laborious years, fulfillments ground to visions of the dead, and image of the wide desire of kings. Is made my darkling dreams effulgency, fuel of vision, brief embodiment of wandering will and wastage of the strong, fierce ecstasy of one tremulous hour, when ages piled on ages were aflame to all the years behind and years to be. Yet any sunset were as much as this, save for the music forced by hands of fire, from out of the hand, straight silence which bind. Dull matter's tongueless mouth, a music pierced, with the tense voice of life, more quick to cry its agony, and save that I believed the radiance, redder for the blood of men, destruction hastens and intensifies the process that his beauty manifests, ranges a form unknown before, and gives motion and voice and hue, where otherwise bleak inexpressiveness had leveled all. If one create, there is lengthy toil, the labored years and days league toward an end, less than the measure of desire mayhap, after the sure consuming of all strength, and strain of faculties that otherwhere were loosed upon enjoyment, and at last remains to one capacity nor power. For pleasure in the thing that he hath made, but on destruction hangs but little use of time or faculty, but all is turned to one purpose, unobstructed, pure, of sensuous rapture and observant joy. And from the intensities of death and ruin, one draws a heightened and completer life, and both extends and vindicates himself. I would I were a god, with all the scope of attributes that are essential core of Godhead and its visibility. I am but emperor, and hold awhile the power to hasten death upon its way, and cry a halt to warn and lagging life, for others, but for mine own self may not delay the one nor bid the other speed. There have been many kings, and they are dead, and have no power in death save what the wind confirms upon their blown and brainless dust, to vex the eyeballs of posterity. But were I God, I would be overlord of many kings, and were as breath to guide the dust of destiny. And were I God, exempt from this mortality which clogs perception and clear exercise of will, what rapture would be if but to watch destruction crouching at the back of time, the tongueless dooms which dog the traveling suns, the vampire, silence at the breast of worlds, fire without light that gnaws the base of things, and life's mounting tide that rots the stone. Of fundamental spheres there were enough, till such time as the dazzled wings of will came up with power's ascension scarcely felt, for very suddenness, then would I urge the strong contention and conflicting might of chaos and creation, matching them. Those immemorial powers innumerable, and all their stars and gulfs subservient, dynasts of time and anchors of the dark, in closer war revelers would set new, let me go back, in closer war revelers less, and would set new discord at the universal core, a Samson principle to bring it down in one magnificent ruin. Yeah, the monster chaos were mine unleashed hound, and all my power, destruction's own right arm, I would exalt to mark the smoldering stars, renew beneath my breath their elder fire, and feed upon themselves to nothingness the might of suns, slow paced with swinging weight of myriad worlds, where made at my desire one long rapidity of roaring light, through which the voice of life were audible, and singing of the immemorial dead, whose dust is loosed upon into vaporous wings, with soaring rack of systemic systems ruinous. And were I weary of the glare of these, I would tear out my eyes of light and stand above a chaos of extinguishing suns, the crowd and grind and shiver thunderously, lending vast choice and motion, but no ray. Oh, let me do that again. Above a chaos of extinguished suns, that crowd and grind and shiver and thunderously, lending vast voice and motion, but no ray, to the stretched silence of the blinded gulfs. Thus I would give my Godhead space and speech for its assertion, and thus pleasure it, hastening the feet of time with cast of worlds like careless pebbles, or with shattered suns brightening the aspect of eternity. Holy cats, that guy's pretty good. Um, this was Nero. I thought some, well, be prepared to be swept away by ancient Rome. No, this was just some powerful writing. Wow. Shall we do one more of these? Okay, this one is Ode to the Abyss. O many-gulfed, unalterable one, whose deep sustains far-drifting world and sun, thou wast ere ever star put out on thee, and thou shalt be, when never worlds remains, when all the sun's triumphant strength and pride is sunk in voidness absolute, and their majestic music wide, in vaster silence rendered mute, and though God's will were night to dusk the blue, and law to counsel and disperse the tangled tissues of the universe, and molded the suns anew, his might were impotent to conquer thee. O invisible infinity, thy dark subdue all light that threads thee down a space, exulting over the deeps. The cycles die, and lo, the darkness reaps the flame of mightiest stars. In eon inflicting wars, thou tearest planets from their place, worlds granite spined to thine irridence yield, their treasure centurally confined in crypts by continental pillars sealed. What suns and worlds have been thy prey, thou unhorizoned reaches of the past, what spheres they now essay, time's undiminished vast, shall plunge forgotten to thy gloom at length, with life that cried its query of the night, to eyes with silence filled, what worlds unborn shall dare thy strength, girt by a sun's unweird might, and dip to the darkness when the sun is stilled, O incontestable abyss, what light in thine embrace of darkness sleeps? What blaze of a sidereal multitude no peopled world is left to miss? What motion is at rest within thy deeps? What gyres of planets long become thy food? Worlds unconstrainable that plunge there into peace, like tempest worn and crew forsaken ships, and suns that fell to huge and ultimate eclipse, and lasting gyre release. What sounds thy gulf in silence hold, stupendous thunder and meeting stars, and crash of orbits that diverge, with life's thin songs are merged, the quietudes enfold, paean and thyrrondee as one, as battle blare of unremembered wars, with vestal songs sung in the realms of ruined spheres, and music that belongs to yonder undiscoverable years, with worlds of yesterday. Ah, who may stay? Thy soundless world devouring tide, O thou whose hands pluck out the light of stars, are worlds but as fruit for thee? May no sufficient bars, no marks inveterate abide to baffle thy persistency? Still unstriving now, what plottest thou within thy universe ulterior deeps? Dark as the final lull of suns, what new advancement of light, of night, on citadels of stars around whose might thy slow encroachment runs, and crouching silence thunder potent sleeps. Wow. Let's one more time with this. Dark as the final lull of suns. Dark as the final lull of suns, what new advancement of the night on citadels of stars around whose might thy slow encroachment runs, and crouching silence thunder potent sleeps. Oh boy. Well, that was a couple of poems, sonnets, odes from uh, Clark Ashton. Smith. Odes and Sonnets. Clark Ashton Smith. The San Francisco. Let's see if we can get that. Yeah. Well, that's what we did this evening. Thanks for stopping over, and I'll let you all go. Have a great evening. Where's my clicker? There.